What's up, everybody? This is Zach
and Allie
with the Nerd Cave. Today, we're going to be talking about The Mandalorian. Episode 2. Where do we start? I don't remember. We start with him, taking the baby.
Yeah, he's taking the baby, and he's in this little it's like almost like a, what's the word I'm looking? It's like a cradle stroller kind of thing.
Yeah. Egg.
Yeah, that's like
floating egg.
It's a floating egg, but it floats and just stays along with them. And Baby Yoda's like, oh, I guess I'm with this guy now.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other bounty hunters that jump him.
This is a cool part. Before it happens, you see him in the back, jumping over the ledge.
Oh, I don't remember seeing that, but I was also I was kind of during the beginning of that episode, I was multitasking on stuff, so I wasn't constantly watching it at the first.
So you see him jump over, and then in the reflection of his helmet, you see them moving. It is the detail is just so good.
I'll have to go back and rewatch it because I think I was doing something on my laptop or on my phone, so I looked away, but I was still listening. I'll have to go back and rewatch it.
The detail was so good.
Oh, that is the stuff that I live for.
Yeah. I was
my gosh,
this is awesome. So he dispatches these guys, and he finds a fob on them.
Right.
The beeping thing again.
And he's like, and Baby Yoda's like, oh, cool, this guy just saved me. I guess he's my friend. Yay. Yeah. And you're just like, Baby Yoda.
And then, we see, this is a little bit later, it's night, and he's fixing his armor after the fight because he took some damage. And then,
and he's trying to heal himself because he got a cut.
Yeah, he's cauterizing the wound and everything.
And Baby Yoda's reaching his hand out, and then next thing you know, Baby Yoda's walking on the ground. You're like, oh, he jumped out of his thing, and he tries to lift his arm up to obviously the implication is that it's he wants to try to maybe heal him or something, and then Mando just picks him up, puts him back in, sits back down, and then again next thing he knows, Baby Yoda's sitting next to him again, let me help you, and he's just so he picks him up and then puts him in the cradle, but then shuts it so he can't get back out. And I'm that's so much parent with child who's keeps getting up out of their playpen or something.
It's stay, boy.
So cute, boy. So cute.
Cut to the next scene. We see Mando's fixing to get onto a ship and everything.
The Jawa.
But there's a sand crawler and a ton of Jawas that have stripped.
It's completely gone.
There's literally holes in the ship. There's nothing there.
So bad.
So he gets his gun out. And this is such an awesome part.
So, you get introduced to because he's had this giant scope on his back that he's been carrying around with him that he's been kind of using, but you finally actually get to see what it does.
Yeah.
And he has these I guess these shells on his leg, and he shoots them, and they don't just poof or die, they disintegrate.
Yeah.
They turn into sparks and poof.
This is a good moment to a throwback. In episode 5, Darth Vader tells all the bounty hunters no disintegration, and he says it specifically to Boba Fett when they're trying to track down Luke and Han and all of them.
I don't remember. Where are they when this happens?
This is on a Star Destroyer.
I can I guess it's just been too long since I've seen episode 5.
It's a callback to
that
we've
is
never
so
seen
cool.
disintegration actually happen in a movie or whatever. And then he's just yeeting Jawas left and right,
poof, just poof, and you're
and they're freaking out. They get on the sand crawler. He tries to get on the sand crawler. I love this moment. You need to go watch it.
So good.
But he finally gets up top. The Baby Yoda's flying.
Yeah, Baby Yoda's flying behind him wee.
He gets up top.
Yeah, after he's holding on to ladders, finally gets up top. And he's all right, let's go. And the Jawas are no.
All of them pull up their
tasers, and he just. Boop. It's so funny.
Some of my favorite parts of that scene, they're literally throwing kitchen sinks out.
They're out the window throwing stuff at him. And he's stop it.
But when he just grabs one of them and just yanks him, I was ah.
Yeah, the scene's it's there's a ton of action going on there. And it's oh yeah, this dude could fall off. I mean, he does eventually, but it's still super funny.
And it shows again, he is a human.
Yeah, exactly.
He's not this,
he's not mystical, Mr. Deus Ex Machina for his own problems.
Exactly. And then I love that they show the inside, the actual cockpit of the sandcrawler.
Yeah,
we've never seen that before.
Because one guy, one of the Jawas on top, he's saying something to the driver, and you actually it goes really quick in there. And he's got a big old tube that comes down, and he's oh what?
Yeah,
it was so cool. It's just all these little bitty detail things.
Love that. So next scene, he goes back to
his friend.
Yeah, his friend. I have spoken. And he's like, so this is what all the trouble has been about? Like, talking about
Baby
boy.
Yoda.
Boy.
You'll call him boy, I'll call him Baby Yoda. Because Baby Yoda's fun to say.
Oh, yeah, it is fun to say. And one of the best moments of the whole episode where Baby Yoda's, like, chasing the frog and everything.
Yeah, there's, like, all these frogs on the ground, and Baby Yoda's like, yay. And then...
Yeah, he just eats one.
Eats one whole... And Mando's like, spit that out right now. And then Baby Yoda just, like, swallows it, and he's like... There's a very famous picture that's been going around where like he just looks up and he's like, and like it's that scene.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my goodness.
And then he like laughs and then burps. And this is like,
it's so great.
The Ugnaught, says he'll take him to the Jawas and everything to get his parts back. That they don't destroy, they just scavenge.
Yeah. So like like they get there and then they're trying to negotiate and then eventually they land on like it's like, okay, if you want your stuff back, then you have to get us this egg. And he's like, Suka. Oh man, like, because I mean, spoiler alert, he gets the egg for them, and like whenever they crack it open, they're all just like, Suka.
Yeah, which remind me here when we talk about episode 3 to bring back that.
Okay.
About Suga. So like we see like this is the action piece of the one of the action pieces. We had like 3 in this episode.
Yeah.
Because we had the fight with the bounty hunters, then the Jawa sandcrawler, and then we had the Mudhorn.
Yeah, the Mudhorn.
So he fights this big creature. It reminds me a lot of episode 2. It had that one beast that like Anakin tamed. That had the horn. Remind me a lot of that. He's getting like heated left and right.
Yeah, and then eventually like he's like all like muddy and everything. Like it's just really cool. Like it's a dirty fight.
Yeah, he's like punch drunk. Like he's just like.
Yeah, and then eventually like the Mudhorn, he like has him like push down into the mud. And he's like pushing him. All of a sudden he starts lifting up, and we cut to Baby Yoda, and Baby Yoda's like force lifting him.
Yeah,
off. And I mean like.
This is probably like a couple of tons worth of flesh.
Oh yeah, and I mean like he's not even just lifting him. It's like almost like he's like. The best way to describe it is like the Cruciatus curse, where it's almost like he's like torturing because the Mudhorn's like freaking out. Not like I'm lifting. It's like he's like almost like convulsing.
Yeah.
And then eventually like it's too much for Baby Yoda. He drops him, but like after like it's not like I got dropped because like again furthering the whole like I don't want to say torturing him, but he was doing something to him.
Yeah.
Because the Mudhorn, the Mudhorn was like he could not move, and then Mando gets up, stabs him, makes sure he's dead, and then we cut to Baby Yoda, and like Baby Yoda's like passed out because it was just a lot for him to do.
Yeah. Now, with him stabbing him, it's like how could one knife do that much damage? We see in a later episode that it's a vibro knife.
Yes, that's right. Yeah,
which does a lot of damage because like it vibrates.
Yeah,
and then cuts deep and everything.
And not only that, before he takes it out, he goes like pushes it a little bit further more and turns it, and he's like, "No, you're dead." And then gets the egg, takes it back to them, and then Zuka. Yeah,
so they get that, they get all the parts, they put it back together and everything. Mm-hmm. He offers the Ugnaught to come on, be a part of his crew.
And he says this great line where he's like, like I could really use a man of your talents, around, because he's like, which is basically him saying, "You're my friend, please don't leave me."
Yeah, pretty much.
And then he's like, I'm honored that you would offer that, but I've worked my whole life to be out of servitude. And I was like, that was just such like it's just interesting little line.
Yeah, because
that told us like so much about this character. You know what I mean? It was so cool.
Because we've only seen Ugnaughts as like slaves or working for somebody and getting paid, little to nothing. Yeah. So like I love that, and like he's like you'll get a big bounty from this, and blah blah blah, and like I have spoken. And
and it's just so good because whenever he's like I worked so hard to get out of servitude, Mando's like, no, I completely understand. Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, yes. Yeah, I love it.
It's that character development and seeing like. It's not just the main character, but they're developing
these other side characters like you may or may not see again.
Yeah,
I hope we get to see them again. Probably not.
Yeah,
but like just something so simple as it's just one little line of dialogue.
Yeah,
that just it conveys so much.
Mm-hmm. So go out in space, and Baby Yoda's still asleep and everything. Does he wake up at the end of this one?
He does wake up at the end of it, but it's like he opened his eyes and then cut credits.
Yeah.
And then the next episode starts off with him like waking up again.
Okay. So that's episode 2. I thought episode 2 was really good.
I did too. Plus we got to see more Baby Yoda. But like there's so much. Like there's like a lot of humor, but there's also a lot of like there's very serious moments and big dramatic moments, like whenever Baby Yoda's lifting the Force, and also like because Mando like afterwards he looks at Baby Yoda and he's like, what he even says like later
Yeah.
he's like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what that was.
And the reason because like the Force has been kind of like cut out of,
Exactly,
like,
yeah.
an everyday life kind of like perspective because the Jedi have been gone for so long. The
Yeah, 'cause-
only Jedi that's around is Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
and
and
not
he's-
everybody knows that.
Yeah, not and it would have been before he started the his like Padawan school, right?
Yeah, before he started like the academy and all
Yeah.
of that. So like nobody really knew what that was.
Right. So he's like, I don't know what happened.